here is the lineup for board number 10. In Austria, we have Jaron Berman, Colorado. In England, we have hobby stalwart, old-timer Melinda Hawley from Alabama. She's a longtime player. Doug, I assume you've played against her multiple times.
Yeah.
And she's been to Mood a couple times, or once, since I was the tournament director that year. And it was really fun to have her. And in Germany, Randy, have you played with Melinda before?
I have. I think so. I believe we played at Dixie together.
In France, we have Peter Cook from New York. In Germany, we have Maxim Popov, who has been a guest on the show before, from Vancouver. In Italy, we have Michael Lotfi. I often say this as Lofty. I think a lot of people do, but it is Lotfi. That is not a typo. He's coming to us from Florida. Russia, we have a longtime face-to-facer, Robert Cantelmo. I've never played with him or met him. I think he's been out of the hobby since I started playing, but apparently is re-engaging. Are you guys familiar with Robert?
Yeah, I've played with Robert. He was in the DC area for quite a long time. I've played with him several times.
So Pitkisser, and he's coming to us from New York City. In Turkey, we have Mark Utterback from Nebraska. So this is an all North America board. Let us head on over. Oh, do you guys have anything else you want to say about these players?
Oh, just an interesting thought about Robert. I believe the last tournament he played in face-to-face would have been at Liberty Cup back in, I want to say, 2016. And he took Best Russia in that tournament. And now he's in Russia again. So it'll be interesting to see if he can carry that success forward.
All right. Let's see if history rhymes or repeats or doesn't do either of the above. Here is the board for this. And you guys, let's see, we'll stick with Randy in the West and Doug in the East. Randy, let us hear about the West from your perspective. What stands out to you?
Austria forces Galicia. You don't see that all the time. And Russia lets Turkey walk into the Black Sea, which you also don't see all the time. This is an interesting choice of opening moves. And Austria tries to move to Venice. So Austria basically says he doesn't need Greece, and he doesn't really care that much about Serbia either. And I fully expect to see Turkey take advantage of that fact.
I have never ever. So supporting yourself to Galicia as Austria. I've seen David Hood do this, and we've come to calling it the hoodwink. I have never seen it without Trieste also going to Albania.
No, I've never seen that opening before. So this is interesting. I would say this would be a great opportunity for Russia and Turkey to get together and do some damage to Austria, except that fleet in Romania is going to be pretty useless.
Yeah, why is that a problem for an RT?
Because the fleet in Romania can't do anything to Budapest or Galicia or Serbia. It can only affect Sevastopol, Black Sea. If anything, a fleet in Romania can be a sign that Russia wants to attack Turkey. He could be considering building another fleet in Sevastopol or something like that. So it really slows Russia's progress, particularly when he gets kept out of Galicia.
Yeah, you often see the fleet move to Romania as a condition for an AR from Austria's perspective. But this is a pretty big signal. This is as big a signal as Austria could possibly send in spring of 2001 that he does not want an AR.
This is the Russian symbol. I hate everyone.
All right, let's head over to the West. Doug, what stands out?
Well, we've got a pretty standard opening across the board. I think the only thing that's really interesting here is the bounce in Burgundy. Was that arranged? Did they mislead each other? Hard to know. So we'll want to keep an eye on what's happening between France and Germany. My guess is that was an arranged bounce. Otherwise, England opened standard to the North and Norwegian Sea. No conflict in the English Channel.
And as always, Belgium will be interesting to learn about. Let us see what happens. Doug, we'll stay with you in the West.
All right, we've got a convoy to Belgium, and we've got moving to Norway. So that's a great position for Melinda in England. We've got France holding in Mid-Atlantic and Marseille and going to Burgundy. Wow.
It has to be a misorder.
Yeah, that has to be some kind of misorder or technical problem.
Even Andrew Goff wouldn't do that on purpose.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I could see Andrew Goff holding in Marseille and Mid-Atlantic and bouncing somebody in Belgium.
John Jameson might make those moves.
John Jameson. I think this is his standard French opening, actually.
Yeah. I'm just not sure about that.
It has to be a misorder.
And then Germany supported Russia in there, which I think is generally the correct move for Germany. And then Holland and Ruhr. So, Yeah, obviously everything in the West is going to be influenced by France's substantial misorder here.
All right, Randy, take us through the East in Fall of 01.
Italy screams bloody hatred at Austria, convoys to Albania, forgoes the build, lets Turkey walk into Greece and Bulgaria. So if you're Turkey, you think it's your birthday. This is just beautiful to see. Meanwhile, Russia will be fine. Russia keeps Romania. Turkey obviously decides that. I guess Turkey and Russia have decided this is in fact a good time to run an RT. Russia will pick up a couple of builds, and Austria and Italy will eat each other alive.
It's an interesting, right? If you're Russia and you're Turkey and you're getting on the same page here, I think you support Ukraine to Romania.
You do,
and put the fleet back, right?
You would think that, except that this at least allows. This might have been Russia wanting to feel a little bit more secure, not wanting to just walk out of Romania and possibly get bounced out by Turkey, and then if he's not sure what's going to happen in Sweden, Russia might get no builds.
Yeah, but this is a case where I think the desire for security and guaranteed build may come back to haunt Russia, although they could easily rectify it by convoying the army from Sev to Romania and moving the fleet back. But this will be a problem for the RT, for the exact reasons that you mentioned, even with Turkey getting the second army.
It'll slow it down, but given Austria and Italy's moves, I'm not sure that'll
I'm not sure it'll matter. All right, let's have a look at the builds. We have got England. This is the blood in the water. The shark smells it, and
that's right.
Heads right toward it. The fin is above the water. Melinda Hawley is just going right for.
What are you talking about? That's the great white jumping and grabbing the seals.
Yeah, I mean, right, because there are other options here. I mean, she knows that she's probably going to have to deal with Russia getting 2 builds. She may have to deal with some problem up north, but the possible spoils of securing your future in the Iberian Peninsula outweigh any of that in her estimation, and I assume in both of yours as well. Germany gives a gift to England by building in Berlin instead of Kiel. And we've got 2 armies from...
Ooh. Yeah, Russia's got to be beside himself. That is a hell of a statement by Turkey.
Wow.
That cannot be an accident, right?
No, that's a hell of a decision. I don't like it. For the record, I think that is a mistake by Turkey, and it's not going to work out for him.
I mean, how well? Unless your goal is to make Italy feel so comfortable that he's got nothing to worry about from you. But don't you waive a build in that case?
You either waive a build, or you decide you don't need to do that, because what's Italy going to do? He's not getting a build, and he's pissed off Austria. You build 2 fleets as Turkey, and you just roll east, or west, I should say. But this build, I mean, you're not going to get anything out of Russia, even if Austria is on board. This build by Turkey is you're saying you want to work with Austria against Russia, and you're confident that Italy will leave Austria alone. And it's just that's for me, that's too many variables.
I mean, the only thing that they can do right here is Bulgaria to Serbia with Albania and Greece supports, and you use Venice to tap. That's a 3. That's unstoppable. You blow up the Austrian, then you using that position, you take Trieste with Italy, and you're just chaining up with your fleet, your armies after that.
Right.
That could work. It could work with Italy if Italy's on board. And Italy, by this deal, would get Tunis and Trieste and builds 2. So it could be tactically effective, but I would rather just waive the build and have it in the bag so that if Italy betrays me, I can pop that fleet down instead of being locked in.
Yeah, because the only other thing it can do is go to Armenia and fight Austria. By the way, Serbia is not guaranteed. If Trieste tapped Albania, that would thwart that. But Bulgaria to Serbia with Greece support, Albania to Trieste with Venice support, or vice versa. Well, that would actually Albania would have to be the mover.
Guarantee one of Trieste or Serbia, but again, that's a lot of variables.
Yeah, but Ionian's free to go to Adriatic here, right? I mean, that's the thing now, is that Ionian doesn't need, except it would miss out on Tunis. Okay,
and that might happen now that Turkey has not built a fleet. That might happen.
Yeah.
All right, let us see, and let's stick in the East. Randy, take us through the East. What stands out to
you? There they are. They didn't show up at first. Well, yeah, there we go. What y'all described in terms of Trieste and Serbia did in fact occur. and Austria decides to hold off Turkey instead of Italy. So Italy's going to pick up Trieste, and in the fall he can also get Tunis. So Italy's going to get 2 builds out of this. So maybe that works out for him. Meanwhile, I'm not sure what happened with Sevastopol, Romania, and the Black Sea.
It was a convoy and a move.
Convoy and a move. So there you go. Yeah,
Yep.
that is Russia and Turkey realizing that they've got a problem with that fleet in Romania and fixing it quite effectively. And now they've got Italy on board against Austria. They'll be able to get rid of Austria pretty quickly and then get rid of Italy pretty quickly.
All right, and over to the west. Doug, what stands out to you?
Well, obviously, you got those 2 fleets running away. Looks like Germany popped up into the Baltic Sea, is going to work to take Sweden. We'll see how that goes, whether England will support Sweden, which she did in this move. You also have Germany and England working together, pushing into France on land as well. So, that the race is on against France. You've got a pretty strong EG here. There's really no reason not to work together. As I look ahead, I might very well see, support Sweden, probably not give that to Germany. You might slip over to St. Petersburg and see if you can get in. But yeah, EG.
All right. EG and something in the east. We'll find out. By the way, Trieste actually isn't guaranteed for Italy here. If Italy had followed up to the Adriatic, the fleet would have been popped and then it would have been guaranteed. But now Serbia can go with triple support or double support, so power of 3. So it all depends on whether Austria decides to go maximally revenge. Let's find out. We'll stay in the east. And Randy, tell us about it.
Austria does attempt to retake Trieste, but
does it the wrong way
and is very unsuccessful, loses Serbia as well as Trieste and Galicia, and is on his last legs. Italy, as predicted, picks up Tunis, will put down 2, but it is, well, I was going to say it's probably too late, but maybe not, because Turkey can't build anywhere useful. He held in Smyrna, so he's going to have to build probably another army, because why not?
If we see 3 armies in the Turkish home centers. All right, let's keep going here. What about the West, Doug?
Well, Germany stabbed England for Belgium, and take a look at where Belgium retreats to Ruhr. In the meantime, France has 2 builds for Portugal and Spain, and she didn't take Brest. Deployed in the north to take St. Petersburg, while Germany at the same time took Sweden. So Germany's building 2 here. France is building 2 here, and England all of a sudden doesn't seem to have a friend.
This has got to be just great diplomacy by France to turn that situation around. I mean, France goes from being in deep trouble to getting 2 builds, Germany getting 2 builds, and England losing a unit.
Do you guys like the stab by Germany? This is a big turning point in the game.
No, I don't like it at all. You have France like completely clobbered if you stick with it. Why are you switching gears for a 1-dot stab to make England mad at you? It just there's not a lot of percentage in it. I don't like it at all. It's pretty easy for England now to say, like, all right, fine, I'm going to support myself to the North Sea, going to go to Skagerrak, and I'm going to mess with you. And you can't do anything about it. And you've got a unit in Ruhr. It's pretty easy for England and France to make nicey nice here. I think in this game, in this tournament, in that position, you take France down.
Yeah, that stab was great for France, and that's it.
You guys both expect Mid-Atlantic to come off the board here then?
Yes.
I would. Or Barents, one of the 2.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big difference between the 2, right?
Not really, because England can swing back to the North Sea and Mid-Atlantic goes to the English Channel. And that might be more useful because it threatens Belgium.
I just think that, the most important place that you want to get back to is the North Sea. That really it can't be stopped by Norway to the North Sea, supported by the English Channel. So then you want Barents to cover Norway, so you can pull Mid-Atlantic because it's extraneous at that point.
All right, let's see what happens. Pulls Barents. Goes the opposite direction of what we.
It's okay.
There. We've got 2 fleets from from France. That's a shocker. That is a clear indication that France is choosing Germany over England. And shows, I mean, considering that she kept Mid-Atlantic, that England kept Mid-Atlantic, it, potentially the right choice here, but a big bonus to Germany.
Well, geez, France only has 2 armies. I mean, if they can work their troubles out, France cannot stop them at this point.
In Italy, we have 2 fleets, which is very interesting. Perhaps worried about France wanting to look west. Let's find out. Let us start.
Note, Turkey wisely waived his build.
Oh, thank you. Finally waived a build. All right, good. Let's stay in the East then. Randy, what jumps out to you here?
Let's see here. Italy throws his fleets west. Italy obviously thinks, probably correctly, he's got a friend in Turkey, and he can afford to throw his fleets west. And maybe he sees those French builds and doesn't think they're aimed at England. He thinks they're aimed at him, which I don't think I would have come to the same conclusion, but that's what I would think, because he also doesn't move too much to west. So I think Italy is kind of slow playing it here. Maybe he's not sure what France is going to do, and he wants to see what'll happen there. Russia takes out Budapest and will take out Vienna next turn and get himself a pair of builds. And he pulls the fleet down to Armenia, probably an agreed upon move with Turkey to pop that fleet, and Russia will just have 3 more armies on the board next turn.
Yeah, the move to Syria sort of gives that away, doesn't it?
Yep.
Plus, then Turkey will have Smyrna open. All right, over to the west. Doug, what stands out to you?
I think that Germany is deploying for an attack here. You're going to Helgoland, Skagerrak, and you're trying to pin Norway in place. So you've got, all of a sudden you can cut the North Sea. You create a guessing game potential for Norway, depending on how things shake out. So you have a lot of opportunities with those fleets. I think Melinda's move is the right move. She doesn't have a lot of options here. No need to antagonize France, so she's walking back. France has to deal with Italy, though. Italy is going to the Tyrrhenian Sea, is in Tuscany. Peter can't afford to ignore that deployment. So really, Italy's move is kind of forcing France into England's orbit again. If I'm France, I'm not moving from Spain. So this could just be England and Germany fighting each other, and France sitting back and not poaching. We'll have to see how that plays out.
And it works to Germany's advantage, doesn't it? Germany has the tactical advantage, and but with Russia building, that's a potential counterweight to Germany. So
that's going to be a huge counterweight to Germany, because again, if nothing goes wrong, Russia will have 3 more armies on the board.
Right. I mean, Germany's challenge here is you've got to get Norway. Okay, that you can't go this turn without growing. So you've got to throw everything you can at Norway here. So
then there's a guess here. It should be noted that Germany can't cover Denmark, protect Belgium, and cover Kiel and Munich and Holland. Like they've got a bunch of places that have to be covered with not enough units to guarantee all of it. So the tapping of North and the taking of Norway, those that's the obvious way to guarantee Norway, but then you have too few units to cover the rest. So let's see what happens. And Doug, tell us about it.
Focused on the North Sea and guessed right. Sweden lost to Norway. I mean, guessed right. Well done. In the English Channel is forced, which is England's on the back foot now. North Sea and the English Channel are fallen. This is not good news for England for obvious reasons. In the meantime, France held, Italy held. I don't like Italy sitting there with 3 fleets not doing anything for a full turn. I don't know why.
Hard to see the justification for not moving full bore here as Italy. Move all 3 fleets over.
Right. I don't love that. But the key thing here is Germany is all out attack on England and is succeeding in that attack. And very frankly is poised, if he wants to, he can fight France at the same time, and there's not much France can do about it because he only has 2 armies. He's got nowhere to grow.
All right, Randy, tell us about the East.
I'm just going to concur. The failure on Italy's part to get to North Africa, Western Med, and the Leon Gulf of Leon is particularly confusing considering he apparently knew he was getting Vienna, and would be able to build another one. So I'm not sure what Italy is thinking here. I'm also not sure why Italy got Vienna, because if I'm Russia, I just take it for myself and get my two builds plus a rebuild for Armenia. As we saw, the Armenian fleet does get popped. Turkey moves Khan to Smi, which if I'm Russia, I'm a little annoyed by, because that now means Turkey is going to build a fleet in Khan, which is more flexible than a fleet in Smyrna. But again, Russia's getting one build and one rebuild, so he throws an army in Sevastopol. Maybe he doesn't care that much what Turkey.
But I mean, the fleet is already in Armenia. This is possibly a like a last second forgetting that the fleet can't retreat to Smyrna.
It could be that, or it could be, I mean, if you're Turkey, you'd rather build a fleet in Khan than Smee, because it does have that flexibility. So it could be,
but only if you're worried about a fleet being put in Sevastopol, so you need to force the Black Sea.
Well, yes and no. I mean, that's true, because you got a fleet in. No, you're right. So yeah, that could just be an oversight.
All right, and let's move ahead here and see how the builds work out. We've got a fleet finally build from Turkey that goes in Khan as expected. We got an army drop from Italy in Venice, which is probably good because he doesn't want to do anything with his fleets anyway. England pulls the army in Ruhr. That was fun, but
not useful anymore.
Yeah.
No.
And we say goodbye. I think this is our first elimination of the day that we've seen, at least that I've seen. So thanks for playing, Jaron Berman in Austria. All right. Real quick then, who would you want to be at this moment on this board? Lots of good options, it seems to me, but which one's the best? Doug, let's start with you.
I quite like Turkey's position right now. I mean, it's not perfect, but you're really you're out of the box. Italy is all the way in the west. I think you've got a really nice spot. Yeah, I think, if you can avoid a fight with Russia, you guys have really good opportunities. That's for sure.
Russia dropped armies here. This is a bit of a surprise to me. Sorry, I would have expected a fleet. Probably South Coast.
Those of you who had Turkish Fleet Armenia Army Syria on your bingo cards can go ahead and cross that off. I think I would rather be France than Turkey, though Turkey is kind of out of the box. His position on the fleets is terrible, and I don't see an obvious path to growth other than attacking Russia, who just built 2 armies. Meanwhile, France, for whatever reason, Italy doesn't seem interested in attacking France unless this turn he moves to Piedmont, Gulf of Leon, Western Med, North Africa, then yes. So in that case, I wouldn't want to be France. But assuming Italy continues to dither, or even you can talk him into attacking Turkey, who is kind of vulnerable right now, I think I'd rather be France.
That's interesting. Interesting that neither of you guys chose Germany. I suppose that's the one argument for keeping these fleets in place, is that you have the flexibility to go either way now.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to change my answer. I think I'd rather be Russia. I think Russia's in the most stable position, no obvious enemies, and certainly no one who can clearly get anything off of them quickly by attacking.
But where does he grow next? Because he is just he's been working with Italy and Turkey, has not been fighting with Germany, and is not set up to go after Germany.
Probably he tells Turkey, let's take out Italy. He takes Vienna, Turkey gets Trieste, and he can continue the slow push.
All right, let's see how it works out. And Randy, let's start with you in the East.
There we go. See, that's exactly why, if you're Russia, you didn't want Turkey to move down to Smyrna, because Khan goes up to black, and the army in Syria goes up to Armenia, and Turkey has obviously realized that no, his fleets aren't in any position to attack Italy. So we've got an IT here, and Russia, both Russia and France are in some kind of deep doo-doo here.
This is one of the funkiest Turkeys I think I've ever seen. He has not moved a fleet outside of his home centers, not even ordered it, right?
It's really excellent.
In 1904. Okay. What about the West, Doug? What do you see?
You definitely see the fall of England coming very quickly. France supported up to the IRC. You get a convoy to Yorkshire. So, you've got not a lot that's going to stop England from losing a couple of dots this year. Next, I think most significantly is Germany goes hard east, Prussia and Silesia, going up to Sweden. This is a clear, I don't care what your one fleet does, England. I'm going to ignore those dots. I'm going to take a home center, and I'm going to try and get Warsaw at the same time. So just moving hard that direction.
All right, let's see how it works out in the fall. Doug, let's stay with you in the West.
Okay. It's hard to see what Germany did. It looks like that must have been a support of Wales to London. Oh, English to London. Okay.
Right.
So Germany
both
makes
units
nice,
supported it.
Yeah. Covers the centers, and otherwise, does not go for Warsaw. Instead, shifts south against the IIT.
And also picks up St. Pete.
Picks up St. Pete. But that, hey, that could be a deal. Like, hey, I'll take St. Pete with a fleet, and I'll move my army south and help you. What do you think, Russia? And as Russia, you might take that deal. Otherwise, I'm not sure about holding in Spain. Is France? It looks like Italy missed an opportunity here as well.
Italy went.
Italy could have forced France to have a guessing game between Marseille and Spain, and abdicated that decision.
That looks like a misorder. It looks like they're trying to switch positions, which makes no sense in the context.
That fleet Leon would be much better if it was in West and vice versa. It's
exactly.
I mean, if you're moving Piedmont to Marseille and you're moving west to Spain, supported by Leon, you are creating guessing games, or you're going to the Mid-Atlantic from west. I don't understand France's moves here. I don't find it to be very defensible. If you're not working with Germany, Burgundy to Marseille, Gascony supports Burgundy to Marseille. If that's what you're doing.
All right, let's move on to the builds. We've got a bunch of activity. We've got France dropping to fleets, right? Because it picked up Liverpool and London. That seemingly changes the calculus for Italy, and it makes these fleets particularly useless now.
Yeah.
Turkey drops another army.
Love it.
And if Turkey tops this board without ever getting,
I think he might.
Like, more power to you, man. Okay, and then we've got a bunch of disbands from the Shark, who took a spear in the side. This is Jaws. We're coming to the end of Jaws here, not the beginning.
Yeah, if I'm Germany, I'm a little. That's a lot of French fleets. This French position is pretty strong. Italy whiffed on the opportunity to take France down, I think, in this instance twice. Once by holding that turn, in this last turn with misorders. And, that's going to cost Italy substantially over the course of this game, because you missed your chance to deal with France. And that's got to really irritate me if I'm Germany right now, because France with two northern fleets probably is not really what I want to see at this point.
France has 5 fleets in the water. So you're pointing out that France is now a dark horse to top this board.
I'll correct you there, Brandon. France does not have 5 fleets in the water. France has 5 fleets on
the board.
He actually doesn't have a single fleet in the water.
Fair enough. 5 on the board, all on land. That should be a spot on the bingo card.
Definitely is.
All right, spring 1905. Doug, we'll stay with you in the West. What do you see?
Lots of walking away. Italy got into the Mid-Atlantic. That could be good, but doesn't have anything there to stop France from walking to Piedmont. It's not ideal to have a fleet in Piedmont, but hey, you take your opportunities where they are. In the meantime, England is, of course, dead at this point. Germany's uncorking their attack against Russia. All things considered, you got a pretty strong FG here, and they're in pretty good position to run this board.
And it's capital G, lowercase f at this point. Yeah.
The thing is that France with only 2 armies is just really weak in terms of its opportunity to stab. And Germany just needs a couple of fleets to hold France at bay in the north. He can basically do that with North Sea and Helgoland Bight. Then he can convoy Edinburgh over wherever he needs it, down to Belgium if need be, and really retains the opportunity to drop and stab France, whereas France doesn't have the corollary.
All right, let's push ahead, see how it goes. What about the East, Randy?
Turkey continues his push. He takes Sevastopol. We might see the first sign of a crack in the Turkey-Italy alliance, though. Italy's forced out of Budapest and retreats to Serbia, and Turkey cannot safely kick him out of Serbia without risking Greece. So it'll be interesting to see how that. If I'm Turkey, I am very irritated at Italy choosing to retreat to Serbia. And if I'm Italy, I may have just annoyed my only ally on the board. So this will be interesting to see what happens next turn. Meanwhile, Turkey just throws his armies up into Russia and is going to profit off of that shortly.
And plus, we have the dangerous possibility of a Turkish fleet getting into the Aegean Sea.
I
no,
that doesn't happen.
Will it happen? Let's find out. It does.
It goes.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, Randy, break down the East for us as quick as
Turkey abandons the Russia fight, quite possibly out of irritation at Italy. Walks out of Sebastopol. Just I think maybe he decides that Germany is going to get the Russian dots before him, which is true, and he decides to instead swing around and try to get underneath Italy while the opportunity rises. But this is just great play by Germany and France. They are about to do very, very well.
let's go to the West. Doug, tell us about Germany's little London adventure.
Well, it's not just London. Germany also tried to go to Liverpool and tried to, affect a 2-dot stab here. Actually, Germany attacked in every direction.
Yeah, that's right.
Germany took Vienna.
The salad spinner.
They went to Livonia. It's like, look at them, and they're all points of the compass.
This is the salad spinner turn for Germany.
Look, I think this is right. I talked about it last turn that Germany maintained that possibility of a stab. What's France going to do about it? France is now pulling one. Germany's in Burgundy. This is pretty painful for France, I think.
I didn't notice this before. This is a bad turn for Turkey. He's actually losing a dot. He lost Serbia, and
he's got spare armies.
So
yeah, but this is why retreating from Sebastopol actually seems like it ends its chances of topping the board. Even though it may be a longer term strategic benefit of this game, we're gonna go, like if this were a top board, for example, maybe. But
I also think Italy's gets knocked out of the Mid-Atlantic. Great, you go to the Western Med. You get outfoxed a little bit with Lyon and Tuscany. I don't know that defending Tuscany makes a whole lot of sense when you can just drop your army to Venice rather than give your fleet position up there. But I don't like going to the North Atlantic at this point. It doesn't get you anything, and it splits your units up.
Yeah, better to disband and rebuild.
Yeah.
Okay, let us see. Winter 1905. We see France taking some medicine here in the south. Turkey says adieu to an army that I don't know if it did anything other than bounce around Asia Minor. And Germany, 3 army drops. This is Germany saying, this game is over.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Germany. Let's be honest here. Germany's got a solo shot here if he can get there.
All right, Doug, tell us what happens in spring of 1906 in the West.
Okay. Italy is throwing in right now with France, trying to help out, although still moving my fleets to Lyon. That's helpful. Germany locks in and takes Paris. I would have preferred to have seen him go to Kiel de Ruhr and Berlin to cover Munich. There's so many armies on the east, you don't really have that much opportunity to really take Warsaw. So going to Prussia doesn't seem to really help you in the grand scheme of things. But interestingly, gets into Galicia. So Galicia and Silesia and Prussia with Livonia and St. Pete is going to guarantee Warsaw and possibly Moscow. So, nice, still a good move.
So the solo shot depends then on just holding on to at least one of these and then getting fleets around and picking up the rest of Iberia.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You're sitting in 12. You're going to lose Vienna. And so you're going to pick up Warsaw and Moscow. So you're net 13,
and plus Paris here. Yeah.
Yeah. So that gets you to 14. Then it's, can I get out there in time? But either way, it's going to be a massive, strong German position, and everyone else is competing for table scraps. So
with Italy on board, these centers should not fall.
No. So. The question is Germany able to persuade anybody to make a dumb stab or something along those lines?
Well,
all right. Any sign of that in the East, Randy?
Maybe. I mean, Turkey appears to be playing 4-dimensional chess, which would be more impressive if it wasn't actually diplomacy that he should be playing, because he walks to the Ionian, but he gives up any chance of taking Serbia by moving Khan to Smyrna instead of Khan to Bulgaria. So he'll be able to walk into Naples if he wants. It's possible that fleet move is to help Italy hold a line against Germany coming around there, but I think more likely
That's a tough
this
sell.
is right. I think more likely this is Turkey just being opportunistic, but not necessarily great at it.
I think we've agreed that Turkey and Italy both missed their chances here. All right, fall 1906. Let's stay in the East. Randy, any doesn't look like Turkey has obliged with the chaos.
No,
move.
yeah, Turkey seems to have seen the light and is in fact going to move over into the med, or he's just repositioning himself for a better stab because Khan does also go to the Aegean. So Turkey could be thinking, hey, in a year or two, if Germany is slowed down enough, then I'll have an opportunity to grab 3 dots off of Italy.
Man, it's got to be hard. It's got to be hard to be Italy and having a fleet in North Atlantic and not having a good game.
You hate to see it.
Yeah. Oh, and Mid Atlantic as well. 2 fleets across. All right. What about the West, Doug? Anything?
I quite like Germany's order set here, as we talked about last time. Picks up Moscow and Warsaw, and instead of trying to splash a fleet in Livonia, says I would rather have the English Channel, which puts him in really good position on Brest going forward. Also got into Munich. The game here for Germany is, can I get Marseille or Spain? It's not about Brest. It's not about Liverpool. So you can ignore those. You don't need them. It's about position. And, did a good job of positioning into the best that he could. Getting into the English Channel here is a really good spot to be.
Yeah, this should be a stalemate, though. I think it looks like a big line is being set up with all these fleets.
Yeah, I mean, again, it just depends on, how competent are they going to be in not stabbing each other. Just hold through and be smart.
You've got the Russian army behind. This is a big deal in terms of a stalemate line, but there are weaknesses down here and Germany is getting 2 builds here. So let's see what Germany plops down. Another fleet, interesting. Probably just worried about all of this fleet density up here, and an army to try to hold the line. We've got Russia keeping the fleet on the opposite side of the German defenses. Okay. I believe this game actually is about to draw. Do you guys see any reason here for it not to draw? Looks like all the action is in the East here. Randy,
Yeah, I mean, Turkey probably with agreement from Russia throws the army into Sevastopol, or that could be Turkey just saying, I can hold Sevastopol by myself, but given that he also moves up in Galicia with Russian help, Italy taking Budapest is interesting, but I mean, Russia's not really doing anything useful, and Italy needs the unit more than Russia. So it's entirely possible Russia does not live to see 1908. Otherwise, Turkey, if it weren't for the German solo threat, Turkey would be in a great position again. But as it is, he's not.
Well, it looks like the players agreed that the game was did not have any play left in it, because this is where it draws right here. I mean, Germany is ahead 14-6 with Carnage scoring. The only reason to keep playing for Germany is to solo or pick up another dot or two, because sometimes those dots make a difference in tiebreakers.
I mean, you have 2 dots that you're going to get at this point, and it's going to be a mammoth slog to get to Liverpool and Brest. They stopped you from Marseille, Portugal, and Spain. So, and you're not going to cross the line. So, yeah, I mean, this is a great result for Germany, a well-played game, but you're stopped, and you just kind of got to acknowledge that.